Hello again, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's topic is eco weddings. I'm chatting to Jennie Galgey of Bridal Hair by Jennie, and we're discussing the little things you can do to make your wedding a little bit more eco-friendly. So we're not saying that everything you do has to be a big statement about climate change and saving the planet, but there are lots of little things that you can put into place when planning a wedding to just be a little bit more thoughtful about your impact, your carbon footprint, and how your special day has a lasting effect on the world around you. There are loads and loads of alternative products and services available, and we discuss some of those, but ultimately it's giving you a little bit more information and insight into just how much opportunity there is for you to be a little bit more eco-friendly on your wedding day. I hope you enjoy the show. If so, don't forget to rate and review it on whatever platform you listen to it on, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for even more wedding advice. Enjoy the podcast, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Jennie, remind everyone who you are, what you do, what you're wonderful at doing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the intro, Ross. I've got a big head already. Hello, I am Jennie and I run Bridal Hair by Jennie. I specialise in soft, natural, romantic looks for the bride who wants to be the very best version of themselves. And basically, Ross, for the bride that wants their hair to still look like hair, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, very true. So it still looks natural and part of them, not some weird add-on, which we have seen and we've talked about before. Yes. Fantastic. But we're not talking specifically about hair today, are we? We're talking about eco weddings. And you're very passionate about eco weddings. Can you just sort of explain the premise of an eco wedding and sort of where your passion comes from?
I'll tell you where what I found in 2019, that the brides were coming up to myself and the makeup artist asking if the products are vegan friendly. Much more, telling me little things that they were doing in their wedding to make their wedding more eco-friendly. So this was kind of coming from the brides as well. And I do feel very passionate year on year about making everything a little bit more eco-friendly, reducing the carbon footprint, any little thing I can do.
Yeah.
I think having children really opens your eyes to the fact that you're going to be giving this planet onto your children. And I've seen the destruction that's going on, and I worry. Yeah. I really, really do worry. I think for the 20s, the 2020s, I feel that more people than ever before, whereas years ago, vegetarians, it would kind of be laughed at, and vegans, oh my God, what are vegans? I watched this program recently called Game Changer. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I've heard people talk about it.
And the difference is, it wasn't talking about the ethical side for animals. It was talking about the scientific side for human beings. Okay. And how a plant-based diet actually gives you energy. Well, right. Ross, I was sold.
We all want a bit more energy, yeah.
We all want energy. So basically, over the sort of past 10 years, I've just suddenly become much, much more aware of the effects of what plastics do to the planet, how, watching all the plastic use and everything else when you're doing weddings, everything getting chucked away, flowers, all these beautiful flowers, and then they're just going to, they're just being left somewhere. It's the waste. And I think it's just become more apparent. I've ended up being quite kind of hippie. I now own my own bird table.
Okay.
And basically, I know this is going off on a tangent, but you knew it was going to go this way. But I own my own bird table, and I sit there and you know, when I'm in my office, so to speak, doing my admin, I'm watching the squirrels and the blue tits, and I've kept both my gardens full grass.
Okay.
To encourage the wildlife. I know I'll be an environmentalist full on. And I just, it fills me with so much happiness to be able to sit there and watch these little birds and everything. It really chills me out for the rest of the day. And I think that you then start to look at the environment, you start to look at ways of making things more friendly. And the 2020s, I believe, is definitely going that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of planning, you know, more eco shoots. People are looking at simple ways to add something a little bit more eco-friendly within the wedding. And I think people are a lot more aware of where things go. So where does that plastic go? That plastic doesn't go to and just disappear into this lovely little puff of smoke.
I think that's the scary thing. It's knowing that every bit of plastic that's been made is still exists on the planet.
It's horrific. As you've said that, I've got visions of what you see when you see the pictures and the turtles and everything else. And I just think, you know, I know that on my own I can't make much difference, and I know that what I'm doing probably still isn't enough, but every year I'm trying to pledge to do
a little bit more
and more. Yes.
I think if we all did just a little bit, it adds up. I think the problem is when people say, well, what I can do won't make any impact. And I think that's where we won't make any impact at all if we all individually don't do something, just a little thing.
Yes.
And I think I've heard people say, well, you know, the UK aren't, you know, we don't produce that much CO2, you know, compared to China and America. And if they're not going to do anything, why should we? And I just think that's not the attitude to have at all. So taking it back to weddings, we're not going to sit here and say every single aspect has to be eco-friendly, because that's not practical. But it's just being a little bit more aware of how to make your wedding eco-friendly, and that's what we're going to discuss a little bit more.
I think that everyone can take really small baby steps towards a more eco-friendly wedding. I think just by little touches, it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
I'm not preaching to anyone saying you have got to have this and this at your wedding and you can't have that. But I think some things can be very easily avoided.
Yeah.
You know, I'm old enough to remember the cardboard boxes at the end of the till that you used to put all your shopping in, and obviously the fruit and veg shops that you used to go into where everything was very much sort of paper based, and obviously the plastic epidemic has happened within my lifetime, so I feel responsible. But as far as myself and how I have tried to make an impact, I've looked through all my products and I've basically gone through to make sure that they're vegan friendly and that I feel that they're ethically the right product. It's still, unfortunately, I still have the odd can, which, you know, I struggle with, honestly. They tend to get hoarded in my studio because I can't even bear to put them just in case they don't get recycled. But as much as I can, my products are more environmentally friendly and they are vegan friendly, because that is what today's bride is starting to look at.
Yeah, because one of the questions I was going to ask you was whether your personal sort of move towards eco-friendly weddings came from you and you're educating brides, or whether it's come from brides themselves. Is it a bit of both?
I would say, if I'm honest, I would say it's a bit of both. Certainly what I wanted to tell you is a kind of story, and I've forgotten in my notes actually. I did a wedding in July. It was a really large wedding. It was at am I allowed to say a venue? Or
you can say a venue.
So it's at Beautiful Creeksea. Anyway, this particular bride, she'd come up to me. I'd already spoken to her online and she'd booked me. She came up at the wedding fair and she said, "Are your products vegan friendly?" I was like, "Yes, they are." "Do you know a vegan friendly," this was particularly important for her for makeup more, I don't know why. "Do you know a vegan friendly makeup artist?" And I sort of sent a few over that I felt might be good for her. She got someone from the other side of Kent. that came over, because
it was that important to her.
For her, she'd niched, and she was a vegan-friendly makeup artist, and that was enough for her to book her.
Wow.
So I'd sort of spoken to her, and we always have a chat to say, whenever I do a wedding, you'll know myself, I contact the photographer, I contact the makeup artist to make sure that the whole wedding is going to run smoothly, so I know everyone's times and we can all work together. And this is when I found out I like that clock.
Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. We have a clock and it's striking, so you can tell what time we're recording this podcast. I'm really sorry. I thought of everything today and I haven't. So let's just wait for the clock to chime us out. Oh, it's done. Oh no, it's still going.
Yeah.
Oh, we're done.
Finished.
We're done. Right, carry on.
That's when I started to really think, do you know what? This is now such a market. There is so many people that are starting to say these things. And I did a trial this week, and I was talking to her because this game changer has now made me try and go more on a plant-based diet. Yeah. And she was saying, I've always been a vegan, So these are people on a regular basis now that I'm speaking to.
It's gone beyond a trend, hasn't it?
Yes. Before, it was almost like, I want to say, so you know how Essex people are put into like a kind of box of what they're supposed to be like? Yeah. Well, the same goes for vegans. Yeah, there was like a perception of what a vegan person was going to be. Maybe
stereotype.
They were uni and they were massive activists and they did this, and this. Yeah. And the reality is that that's far beyond now. The programme, I'm just going to talk to you about it because it was so interesting. And Ross, if you get a chance, watch it.
I will check it out.
People like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm sure everyone on this podcast knows who that is, and Lewis Hamilton, if not, younger guy. Both vegans, both plant-based diets. And there was this, I can't remember for the life of me who this lady was, but she was an Olympian, and she was one of those cyclists. Now, you're going to tell me what this is if I kind of show you with the finger. But basically, they start on the bike and they kind of almost go halfway up the wall.
Like in the velodrome.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And this woman went on to a plant-based diet, and she was really scared that she wasn't going to have the energy, and the opposite happened.
Wow.
So I just think it's education. I think there's programs out there educating us, and I don't think anyone ever intentionally did things for their wedding to make it not eco-friendly.
No.
But I think
there just wasn't that awareness.
Yeah, so I think people, at the beginning, it's even things like having seasonal flowers.
Yeah,
seasonal flowers, so that they're not coming from like 500 miles away. Yeah, greenery is understated. It can look incredible and make that wedding look really Pinterest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm going to say. The sort of thing that you would see in a full, editorial shoot. And even things like having, on the table, having flowers that you can then give and you donate. So, like a table decoration, or making things out of wood that's already been cut down, twigs,
recycled things. Yeah,
and obviously they're saving cost as well. Even if they got someone to actually make these things, they're actually saving. And these are things that are just going to deteriorate and go into nothing. So that's and then funny enough, we're actually doing an eco shoot next week, and I decided it would be nice to kind of introduce small areas, so it's not a full-on eco shoot. Yeah. So we have got the hair jewellery, for instance, is going to be remade. It's a remade piece of hair jewellery. The jewellery is going to be more organic, and it's kind of going that way. And then we were looking at pre-loved dresses, but we've actually gone for an eco-conscious dress designer in London.
That's exciting.
So within all the suppliers of everyone involved, it's all as far as London, and that's it. Everything else is totally local. Yeah. So it's showing that you can get everything together within your wedding
locally, and
yes. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying everything, but it just sort of helps that nod towards an eco-friendly type wedding.
Absolutely.
The other thing I've seen, and we're actually thinking of using this in the shoot, are those bee bombs, which are like the seeds.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Can you imagine one of those as a favour on your table with this little cute bee bomb or little plant?
Yeah.
Something that isn't in plastic, that isn't going to be something you chuck in your bag. I don't know. I'm going to say it, and I hope no one else has got these because you're going to hate me. But you know, like the little bubble plastic.
Yeah.
And you blow the bubbles. And imagine all of those on tables as a favour. You know, that plastic, most of them going to get chucked in the bin.
Or left there, or
These things are something that people can take home, plant the seeds, plant the tree, plant the whatever, and remember the wedding.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. And they've even gone, some of the invites now are more eco-conscious, so you've got less glitter.
Yeah.
You've got things that are biodegradable, and some of them, I don't know if you've seen them, they've actually got seeds in them.
Oh, okay. No, I've not heard of that before.
So they break down. We've been sourcing stuff for the shoot. But they break down. And these things aren't something that looks awful. And they're not something particularly expensive. But each thing makes a difference.
Yeah, little things add up, don't they?
Obviously, these bee bombs, they are encouraging the bees. And we know, and I'm sorry to be a bore, but we know that bees
are essential.
Really important. I've got a laburnum tree in my garden where the bees are, where the little blue tits go. And I just think that anything we can do, obviously there's so much more, the plastic grass around this. So, you know, new houses have smaller gardens. If you go into London, if you have a small garden or it's a luxury. And I totally get that. But any small thing we can plant to encourage those bees, the wildlife and everything else, because obviously it's diminishing. Our lovely, I mean, I haven't seen a hedgehog in ages. If anyone's seen a hedgehog, I'm so sad. I really want one in my garden. I want to see them. We occasionally get the badgers because we're near a nature reserve.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a hedgehog since I was a little girl.
No.
Have you?
No, I haven't actually. No, they're just... And it's those little things you don't really think about until somebody reminds you, and you think, oh yeah, we're not seeing what we used to see because they've not got the habitat.
And then, of course, going back to how you can make your wedding more eco-friendly, I've seen loads of ideas on Pinterest. You've got, I don't know if you've seen it with the leaves, and you can hole punch the leaves.
Oh no, not
and
seen
so
that.
if some venues can be really funny about petals.
Yes,
and flower. Obviously, I think confetti's almost been outlawed.
It's got to be biodegradable. Yeah.
And so you were having the rose petals, but there's also like leaves, and you just basically hole punch all the leaves. And
oh, nice.
It's just something I've seen on Pinterest.
There's loads of options that you probably even haven't considered before, but you're just taking each, and like you say, you don't have to sort of make a point of saying this is an eco-friendly wedding, but I think when you're looking at each option, you can just say, is there a more environmentally friendly way of doing this, like with the invites or the favours or anything like that? And I think the difference now is you're not compromising on style or taste now, because it's not like the eco version is just awful to look at or will ruin the look of your day. There's so many options, and it can still be stylish and fit in with what you want.
I think most places, people now, they hire their decor, or the venue everything's hired. So it's obviously real plates, real cutlery. People have that now as box standard, don't they? Thank God. But as I say, even things like donating the flowers afterwards, having seasonal flowers, and then basically, if that's something that bothers you, there are a lot of now eco designers for dresses, or you can even get local designers.
Yeah.
So, there's a fantastic lady who does really kind of quirky dresses that's not a million miles away from here in Chelmsford. Yeah. And, if that's something that sort of bothers you, that whole carbon footprint, this dress has been brought from America or whatever, then that's something that's going to make a massive difference. And
Yeah.
it's also supporting your local kind of community.
And businesses.
Businesses. So it's kind
win-win.
of like, it is a win-win. The other thing, very quickly, is transport. So transport, there was, like some people, they arrange for all these coaches to bring people, and they've started doing really quirky stuff now with buses.
Okay.
So basically, I had this lovely wedding, and she's quite eco-friendly, and she actually had the Priory Park, which is it's a museum that they turn it. It's really quirky, it's lovely, and all the guests got on this bus, and she got in car, but all the guests got on the bus, and they went then to the reception.
Oh, cool.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So, again, that's, having everyone in one place rather than all driving there. And from the, people like to maybe relax, and even if they don't want to drink,
It's more sociable, isn't it?
Yeah. And fun.
It continues the wedding, because you're not sort of pausing it for a boring drive. You can celebrate all the way through, even though you're travelling, because you're not the one driving or finding a parking spot and all that. So brilliant. Would you say there's a certain aspect of modern weddings that is the worst for sort of being eco-friendly?
I mean, sometimes, I'm going to say this, sometimes the really super, super luxury weddings can kind of go that way.
Yeah.
I know with the kind of balloon situation that a lot more balloons are designed to be more eco-friendly. But when you have when I say large weddings, I don't mean large bridal parties, I mean large as in, opulent. Yes, that's what I'm about to say. And then you do end up with then obviously, how have these flowers been transported?
Yeah.
Where have these containers gone? Are these people that are going to be doing the hair and makeup, are they using eco-friendly products? Have they just bought their favourite product or the most expensive product because it's opulent? So in some ways, I mean, I may be proved wrong, and I'd love to be proved wrong, but I do feel that those weddings, it's
There's
all
more
on the
facade and the look and sort of the status. And
where does all that
go?
Where does all that go? Where is it? Does it go straight into the eco? Is everything being broken down properly, or is it just going into their bins? At the back. And that's, I mean, even things like that. It's so easy now. We have we can recycle crisp packets. So I've literally been getting all the crisp packets together and taking them to my school. But that's something that, you're chucking that in the bin. Where's that going?
Yeah. And I think catering as well. I think I've been to weddings where it's over catered as well, like food waste.
Absolutely. And even for me, very sad, but I look at food and I'm like, there's people starving somewhere.
Yeah.
There's people freezing somewhere. And this food is going in my food bin. I wish that someone could just drive up, take it, and go and take it to somewhere that it's needed. We I definitely think in society that we do waste product, and I do feel that it should be easier to be able to move that food across and say, okay, someone out tonight collecting for the homeless people. I live quite near Southend. There is a big homeless problem there. They're collecting for this. Any of your food, they could be eating. They could be eating really well. Instead of just drinking to keep themselves warm. So there needs to be more done. And the other worry for me, I'm going to go off on a tangent, is
that's fine.
Building more and more houses. The impact and on villages. I mean, even not so far from here, that there's these what they called mini towns that aren't even made yet to be created to make this gateway to London. So effectively Essex and London will be joined.
Yeah, they will be.
But where's what's going to happen to our air?
Yeah.
Where's our trees? And I think it's just trying to, be a little bit more aware of what your future is going to be like. What's our future going to be like in 10 years' time? How, and I think when you start to think about that, and I think people feel good when they do things.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever done the collecting on the beach or whatever? Where
little pickups and things like that.
And you feel genuinely better. And when you have a big crowd of people, so it's not just you on your lonesome walking around feeling like there's no way you can make a difference.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good idea.
It's empowering, isn't it?
It is, and it makes you feel better. And genuinely, that is helping.
Yeah.
So,
and like we say, when it's your wedding, you don't have to make any kind of a statement or anything like that this is an eco wedding or we're eco-friendly or guests have to do X, Y and Z. It's just being a little bit thoughtful, really, and just asking questions of suppliers.
Yes.
And not even necessarily judging or excluding
Absolutely.
ones. Like you say, you do as much as you can. There are limits maybe with certain products where it's not ideal, but you still have to use them in small quantities.
Yes. So I'm not. I know with flowers, sometimes things have to be transported a certain way, or cakes. That's fine. I think that there's other ways that things can be reduced. So I'm not putting anyone down, and I'm not saying that everything in my studio is 100%
No.
But I'm doing my thing. I think a lot more suppliers have realised out there that they need to do their thing for either the fact that their brides are telling them, the brides and grooms, or actually they're just starting to be more aware of what's around them. Definitely.
I think even for me, there's little things. I don't offer USB sticks as standard anymore, just because I think they get all their photos from an online gallery, and then from that online gallery they can download to their hard drive. So all you're doing with the USB is sticking it in and downloading it to your
even
hard
with a technophobe like me.
Yeah. But I mean, if people want them, I could supply them, and I always use wooden ones. I don't use plastic ones.
I didn't even know you could get wooden ones.
Yeah.
You have taught me something completely new. I need to see this after.
I will show you. I'll show you my wooden USB. They're sort of they're for professional photographers, so you have to sort of sign up and say this is my website, and then you get it's like a.
That's so interesting, though. I didn't realise.
Yeah, and even the albums, there's like vegan covers you can have for the albums I supply and things like that. So it's little things like that. But even, I mean, this is a lot of it's more convenient, but things like my contract you sign electronically now, and the booking forms online, and that's the way we're working. But again, stops you printing or posting or all that kind of thing, and it all adds up over the course of a year and 2 years when you're corresponding.
Yes,
it makes a difference.
I definitely don't seem to have posts very much anymore.
No.
I get the odd form come through, and I must admit I am guilty at the moment of still having. I've got online, but some people just print it out and they send it to me. But I'm thinking about there's that signables or whatever, isn't it? Which is just online, and they're just I'm actually going to put that into the business as well. But I would, post. You hardly ever get it anymore, do you? It's weird. It's normally a parking fine.
Yes, it's never really good news, is it?
A dental or doctor's appointment or something. It's hardly ever just a card now. And even at Christmas, there were a lot less cards around. People were still messaging you. And then I'm terrible. I'm really funny. I keep my cards because I can't bear a lovely memory thing as well, but I can't bear to put that back out there. So they sit in my Christmas bag. And when I put all my Christmas decorations back, I've got the cards at the bottom.
That's good. Yeah. It's probably going against everything we've been saying, but I like cards. I think it's a little bit more, but you can still use recycled paper and things like that. And actually, I'm just pointing over there because I did.
I love that.
My partner lost his mum, so I put a scrapbook of all the cards his mum and dad sent over the years, and that's a really nice memory.
I agree.
Because the only thing we're going right off topic, is like handwriting.
It's true.
Because everything, and it's so personal to see like a written note.
I do love it. I don't get them often, but my sister lives in Australia, and from time to time she'll write something, or the cousins will, and it's so lovely to see this written thing. And I'm exactly the same. I keep my cards. So my dad died quite a few years ago, and I've still got cards with my mum's signature and my dad's signature together. I've got my grandparents, they've both died. I don't want to sound more, but I keep. I'm a real memory person. I don't always keep cards for that reason, but obviously if they're really sparkly but pretty, I'm just like, do you know what? That can just sit in my bag. I'll hold it.
But so we're not saying you have to stop everything.
No.
And I think that's an important message to send, because I think if you start saying to people, you can't do this, and this, they don't do anything. Well, so it's about just making small changes.
They do now, don't they? Biodegradable glitter. So they actually do have an environmentally free glitter. So say you were having, the glitter and stuff for the evening of the wedding, which I think is really good fun to do. It's then just choosing those companies that actually do specialise in that, rather than where is that glitter going? It's getting washed down the sink. It's just being more aware, because it's all out there. It's all available. And most of these people, they're not much more expensive, maybe no more expensive at all. It's just a lifestyle choice they've decided that is important to them and important to their potential brides and grooms.
Absolutely. And just on that topic, if people are quite passionate about having an eco wedding, is there anywhere particular they can go for inspiration and ideas? Is it the usual sort of social media and Pinterest?
I would say social media. I've just been involved with one shoot that was eco-friendly, and as I say, I'm literally sorting out a shoot of myself and a photographer, and we are making it very much like the nod to eco-friendly, but without chucking it down your throat, without making you want to feel bad. And things like Hitched. When I was having this chat to you, I just wanted to have a look and see what other people's take on eco-friendly, and there's lots. If you just type in eco-friendly wedding, you can find lots on the bigger blogs and some of the stuff I don't necessarily agree with. When I looked at it, I just thought, no, I don't really like that idea. I don't think that particularly works. But the bus idea, I've had a bride have that, and I liked that. And obviously, like I said, having wedding favours that aren't wrapped in plastic, and I think that's kind of got more old-fashioned anyway. You know, I mean, when do you ever see a sugared almond or a bag of sugared almond? It's just, I think that the trend anyway has slowly kind of driven us this way. And I think it's about wedding suppliers getting on board with that and helping the couples to make it easier. Because at the end of the day, I am not there to practice and preach. I'm not this kind of like living hippie, But what I'm saying is if your supplier can show you a way and guide you through a different way, that if that bothers you, if it doesn't, that's fine. It's everyone's their own, but actually lots of people do want to make a difference, they just don't know how.
That's very true.
Do you agree?
Very true. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a two-way thing, isn't it? Listen to the advice of your suppliers, but don't be scared to suggest ideas and say, how about we try this, or I'm not comfortable using that.
Some brides and grooms, I tend to work with the brides more, so I'm saying brides and grooms for a general, so people can relate to it, but I tend to, because of its hair, I tend to work with the bride more. I have had the odd bride groom to be sitting in there watching the hair, but most brides it tends to be a different service. But I think it's just literally being aware, and some brides will come to me with like I said, this particular bride really opened my eyes last year. I really started, a lot of products nowadays are vegan friendly. So it just happens to be a coincidence. I don't use any of the products that are made in France for obvious reasons. I've done that for years now. Because the rules are different of what they do. But I think by just being out there as a responsible wedding supplier and being able to offer an alternative, doesn't mean that bride has to choose that, but being able to offer that alternative to them is professional, forward thinking. I'm not saying I'm forward thinking, but that's how and I think for the bride it's giving the choice. So going back to things like I don't know, offering them a different hairstyle that they could never have thought about. It's offering choice.
Yeah.
And then being able to choose what they feel happy with.
It's all down to choice.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What a nice way to end. So before we let you go, tell everyone where they can find more about you or see some of your work.
If you want to hear about me, I actually did a podcast with Ross before, and you're welcome to listen to that. There's kind of a crazy looking picture of me. I need to find a better one. I'm obviously also on my website. I don't know if you want me to say the website.
Yeah, say the website.
Oh, okay, that sounds really funny. So www.bridalhairbyjennie.co.uk.
Cool.
I'm on Instagram as Bridal Hair by Jennie, and it's with an I and an E.
Oh, that's important to say, actually.
It's because my first ever boss, when I was like 14, 15, wrote my name like that, and I just decided that I liked it. My name's actually Jennifer, but I'm Jennie. And obviously on Instagram, Jennie with an I and an E. Pinterest, I'm way behind, so please don't follow me on that. I need to scrap it and completely start it again. And likewise, I'm not on LinkedIn or anything, because I just
That's not where your customers are.
I don't feel it is where they are. But yeah, and again, you know, I'm on the podcast. Come and find me on there.
Yeah, listen back to what she said about hair and
it
hair
wasn't
trials
about
and
hair
things.
as such, though.
No,
was
it wasn't.
I don't like when you listen to the podcast, and I tell my brides, please don't listen and think it's all about hair. That would be so boring. It's about how to treat a bride, how a bride should feel, and choices, and that you can keep it natural. I think that's what we were talking about. We didn't have a long discussion about hair.
No, because I try and delve a little bit deeper than just questions to ask your florist and questions to ask your hairdresser. You need a bit more depth there. Brilliant. All right, thanks for Jennie, and hopefully we'll have you back on the next series as well.
Please do. I look forward to it.
Thanks again.
Take care. Bye.